in their freedom of speech. And what I do think, people are not going to call you the N-word or call you the P-A-K-I word blatantly now. But very often, the unstated assumptions about communities are as racist as anything you can find. Because people don't make the crude racist remarks, doesn't mean to say that racism isn't there under the surface. I think you're being a bit naive.
But is that racism enhanced by a sense that people can't talk about it? In other words, if they were able to talk about it more freely, might it dissipate it?
People talk about it all the time. Sometimes they talk about it in code.
But you see, what you're talking about is there's a big difference between people tweeting obscenities at each other and people in positions of authority and power not enacting upon evidence because they're scared of race. Now, there's a big difference, so I think that's a naive thing for you to assume that somehow the two things are the same.
I think that race has always been discussed in the public square, but in code. That's my point.
Well, Trevor Phillips's point is that with the onslaught of anti-racist campaigning that went on when he was running the Equalities Commission, that what happened was that it meant that you couldn't talk about it at all, in the sense that what you couldn't do is you couldn't say things like, look, when you, at the top you said, for instance, the thing about Jewish people being very wealthy and that it's ridiculous. But of course,
I'm not saying it's ridiculous.
but the facts do back that up. The facts back it up.
Yeah,
so
but
there are
one of the most successful
exactly right. 25% of billionaires in this country.
It's about taking facts out of context. Trevor said, for instance, that most black people are murdered by black people, most white people are murdered by white people. What does that really prove?
But you say people speak in
4 times more likely.
Code.
You say people speak in code about
race.
You haven't spoken in code. You said white people love playing divide and rule. We shouldn't play their game. I could never imagine Michael saying that, changing that to saying black people love playing divide and rule.
What happens, yeah.
And what would happen if he said it? You didn't speak in code. That was quite a racist remark, was it not?
No, I don't think it's racist. I think it was...
To say that white people, not some or a few, or even many, but white people as a group love playing divide and rule.
I was referring to the history of the British Empire.
But you were contextualising it to the present day, weren't you? I mean, you were contemporising it.
It was referred to. Actually, you're referring to the Stephen Lawrence case, which I think happened long after we had an empire.
No. It was part of it. No. It was part of a sequence of debate. It was referring to British Empire, and of course, when you have to put things into 140 characters, you don't often get the nuancing that you should get.
I think one thing that was
what would the nuance be then?
The nuance would be that this is the history of the British Empire.
But you were talking about Stephen Lawrence.
No, it was a longer.
You were responding to new evidence that came out on the Stephen Lawrence case, and you said white people love playing divide and rule. But we should not play their game. Present tense, not empire, India, the Raj.
140 characters, and that's what I was referring to. Anyone who knows history of British Empire knows that is exactly how an empire was built.
And on the Asian network, for instance, we have many discussions when Asian communities are more than good enough at dividing each other without any help from any colonial...